Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have Fritzy, a female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of August 6th, 2022 and a date of marriage of 2006. She says that he is a vanisher and a high-energy replayer. Her question: is there any sense in standing with a husband who has just left as soon as possible? He tells everyone that he's happy with leaving. First thing, that part's normal. Co-parenting, he's happy with leaving, co-parenting and having the kids every second week living with him. He's organizing it very well. He's working normally. He's not showing extreme behaviors. And after a short period of depression and confusion after bomb drop. So, short period of compression, everyone else, everything seems normal. He seems happy, all of that, blah, blah, blah. He seems happier. He seems more relaxed now than during our marriage, as everyone says the alienator is being a nice person, as the kids say. His health problems are settled. So from the outside, it appears that really the marriage was the problem, not him or the MLC. It doesn't appear that way at all. It appears that we don't know what the problem is. And so that means don't go blaming it on the marriage, because when he left the marriage, maybe he was stressed. And there were stresses, and they were in the context that they were present, but they weren't about the marriage. We just don't know. So let's look on. Bomb drop happened after he had heart problems, and he got in a crisis because of it. But I'm confused whether I'm just seeing this the wrong way. Him now being so sure he's doing the right thing, not showing any clinging. So the first question I said is, you said he's a vanisher, and I don't know why. But if you'd said he's a boomerang, I don't know why either, because you haven't shown vanishing behaviors, but you haven't talked about communication, except that you simply know these things. So I would just, if I were to guess what he was without you having said vanisher, I would guess boomerang, because boomerang is about frequency of contact. And the reason we talk about it that way, it doesn't matter what the motive for that is, unless it is because they're seeing you in court. And they're not seeing you in the court because they're trying to keep you engaged that way, which some have done. Frequency of contact means that you have more opportunity for contact and communication, more opportunity to show your own changes, more opportunity for them to see the lighthouse. And that means for you to be that lighthouse. It's really opportunity-based. More opportunity for you to show grace in conflict. More opportunity for you when they're saying things that are some monstering, for you to handle it with grace. Some more like this, where maybe he's being kind, but just like, I'm just not that into you. And you handling it with maturity. It's about opportunity. They can see that. So I don't know if he's a vanisher or not. I can't tell. If you have zero contact and communication, that's a vanisher. And it's not been a year, but it's getting close to a year. So you would probably have figured out whether he's a vanisher or not. So, and why is he a high energy replayer also? He's having an affair, but is he acting out? You're saying that he is not showing, he showed a short period of depression, having the kids everywhere, organizing, working. Oh, they can work normally, not all of them, but they can compartmentalize. The organizing of this very well, you're right, yeah. But he seems more happier, more relaxed. He's, I think there was a part where you said he really wasn't acting out anymore. So he's not a high energy replayer then. Where's the escape and avoid? And I think that's part of what you're asking. You're asking, should you stand? Does it make any sense? But you're also asking that because you're thinking it's not a midlife crisis. Maybe it's not, or maybe it is. So first thing, take a hard look at your marriage. Is his leaving really valid? Was this a marriage that is truly broken beyond repair and couldn't be fixed if you both worked on it? And if his reason for not working on it is, well, I did feel better when I left, or I have an alienator. Not all alienators are affair downs. I would put most are. I would say that, but not all. And so now he has a situation where he is feeling calmer. don't know why. It doesn't mean, and it doesn't mean it's not. Yeah, it could be the marriage. But also it doesn't mean that the marriage problems couldn't be fixed. So what is it he's escaping and avoiding? Is he escaping and avoiding anything? Is he embracing? Is he in a midlife transition? And when I say that, divorces happen during a midlife transition that is not at crisis levels. Now, it might feel like a personal marital crisis, but that doesn't mean that it's an identity crisis where he is seeking out to overtly and covertly be destructive. Even when they're like, I didn't mean to destroy, but they're doing something where the guilt they're feeling is because of the destructiveness they're doing. So it's really two things. Is there a sense in standing? What is the reason for standing? So let's say yours isn't a midlife crisis and the other people is. I don't know the odds on midlife transition and divorce. I would actually think they might be better for reconciliation, but I don't know. But the odds of your stand ending with reconciliation, if you have a midlife crisis situation, are significantly low. We don't have statistics other than to know. I don't see the people on my forums and everything. It's just, and the other ones that I've read, other forums and other places. And sure, some of it is because the LBS says they either never stand or they give up standing quickly. And then there's those who come to that place after a few years. Those are the real standard ones there. I gave it my all. It just didn't get there. So is there a sense, if that's the case, is there a sense in standing if it is a midlife crisis? And yet we have so many people who are standing. And some are even comforted by the fact that it's a midlife crisis because, whew, this is too crazy. This is like a soap opera. At least I can have the confirmation of it's not me. It's not my marriage. I didn't have a perfect marriage, but something is not right outside of this. And so there can be comfort in that. There can be comfort in saying, okay, there are these steps and here's what's going on, understanding the psychology. But one of the things that isn't a comfort is those reconciliation statistics. That is not comforting if you are looking to be reconciled. So there must be some other reason for standing. Sure, some of it is the hope that you'll be the one. I mean, I did say, and there was another person who said it that was offering a lot of advice at the same time. We both were saying the same things, and same thing. And it was, if the odds are 1 in a million, I'm going to be the one. And I know the odds, but I'm going for it. I'm going to work to be that one. Still that scintilla. So there's that scintilla of hope. You just need to go in knowing those odds. I think they're better than 1 in a million. Okay. But knowing and accepting. So the reason for standing for your marriage is because you don't want a divorce. The reason for standing for your marriage is because you love your spouse. The reason for standing for your marriage is because you feel that it is a better situation for your children. The reason for standing in your marriage is because you feel that it is repairable. The reason for standing for your marriage is because you made a vow to do that, to not give up, even in for better or worse sickness and in health. This is definitely one of the worst. And for many, this is the sickness part. It's just this kind of sickness up here. So those are the reasons. The reasons are, if you don't want a reconciliation, then, you don't want to be with that person. Okay, that's fine. But it's because you want it, even understanding that the probability of getting it isn't there. So that fits any situation, regardless of whether it's a midlife crisis or not. The reasons for standing are because I don't want to be divorced from that person. I feel that we could be better together than apart. I feel that it's more damaging. I feel that it's repairable. Doesn't matter whether it's due to midlife crisis, whether it's due to infidelity that's not midlife crisis related. It doesn't matter whether it's due to addictions. If you feel you can overcome those issues and repair. So the next thing is looking at, is this a midlife crisis or not? I can't tell you that it is. So let's look at the idea that it's a midlife transition, and he could be tipped. He could be having a transition that's, think of it as a spectrum. There's got to be a point where a midlife transition does tip over is he close to that? Because he got there. Or maybe at the beginning of a transition, there's still that confusion. Your job, if you want to be a stander, isn't to say he's all wrong and is spiraling down. It's just to heal. Your job, if you don't want to be a stander, is to heal. It's the same job. To take care of your children, if you have children, and that's what you're doing. You said co-parenting, having the kids every other weekend. Your job is to do that. Now, your job can be, if you want, to file or follow along with the divorce proceedings in an accepting way. Or you can simply do it in the legally accepting way and do everything legally, but not the rest. But as a stander, if you want to be a stander, you co-parent with him. You be friends with him. You don't try and get him to show him the error of his ways. You tell him how proud you are of him, and you are so relieved that he is feeling better. All of these things. And while you're doing that, you are going to work on yourself. That's the most important thing. That your children are taken care of and that their mother is taken care of. That's you. You're going to work on choosing joy and thriving. And if that doesn't bring him home, you chose joy and you're thriving. And if it does serve as an attractive force to make him curious, make him turn around and possibly bring him home, or even maybe reconnect, and then it doesn't always work out, but you've reconnected on a deeper friendship, the benefits are with you either way. That's the great thing. The thing you have to do if you want to reconcile your marriage is the same thing you want to do if you don't. Heal, choose joy, and thrive. And in this situation, since it sounds like he's not monstering, the alienator is a nice person. And now, we could all go, she's a nice person who is having an affair with somebody. But you know what? I know the rest of you don't like me saying it. Nice people make mistakes. I'm assuming that you have all felt in the past that your spouse was a nice person. And they're making a mistake, aren't they? And maybe the alienator's a nice person, and she's having a midlife crisis also. And it's just things can be milder than others. Maybe if you were to put up obstacles in his way, you would see more crisis. And that might not be a good thing. Or it might, who knows? Maybe that would help his crisis come out to the surface if it's really there. Or maybe you would see, it would break down the facade. So if you were to put obstacles in his way, let's say he wasn't having a facade, could you create some anger in him? That's not good. But we don't know. Or maybe it's there and it's hidden and it's buried and you could be cracking the facade. So what my point is that not everything is as it seems. People can be deluded. Oh, she's a nice person, maybe. Or it is as it seems. And she is real and she's nice. And that shouldn't have to affect you and your view of what your marriage was. Although I do want you to not have rose-colored glasses, so take them off. Because like you said, he is doing better than he seems to be in the marriage. Now, also, he had a heart attack. Was he making poor choices in the context of the marriage, but that weren't about the marriage, that caused him stress to have heart problems? And he left the marriage. But sometimes the barriers of being in a certain environment, that person chooses fears, chooses other things. And when they leave, they are more allowed themselves, not from the confines of that situation, but they allow themselves to open up and blossom more. Doesn't mean that you were holding him too tightly. I don't know. But I'm trying to get you away from saying my marriage caused his problems, caused him to want me to leave. It can take two to not destroy, but to break down a marriage. It can also take one. So yes, look at yourself, look at what was going on, apologize also for anything if you look back. But I don't want you to take the total blame either, just because he's happier and more relaxed. Sometimes they seem that way. Sometimes it's real. And I don't say that to be sad. I want you to be glad for him. So that now, if you're glad for him, and you two are co-parenting, and you're friendly, and this alienator doesn't work out, you're not second choice. You're second look again. Maybe I made a mistake. Or maybe I'm so glad, it's not that I made a mistake, but I think this was something that maybe we needed to burn away the bad stuff. And unfortunately, it was through some destruction, through some things, but we found the good within, underneath it. Sometimes you have to go through the bad, the crisis, the infidelity, to uncover the good, to reemerge the good, to heal the bad so that you can reemerge. And maybe that's what you're doing. Either way, you can choose joy and thrive, and you will be better off reconciled or not coming through it. Better off than you are now. Okay? So I hope this is helpful, and I will see everybody in the